seen things people wouldn't believe.
Hey, what's up guys? I'm Brian. This is Tech Therapy. Thank you so much for joining me. Today's video is on the brand new LG C3. Now I'll be looking at the 77-inch C3 today. It was filmed at Value Electronics. The introduction will be done by owner Mr. Robert Zahn. Now we cut that introduction a little bit short as we began discussing the brand new soundbar from LG that syncs perfectly well with the C3. I want to do a completely separate video on that soundbar as the design and implementation is awesome. It deserves its own video and I didn't want to tack it on to this video. Now we'll also do the unboxing and setup, but at the same time as Robert's introduction to save a little bit of time as the setup is very similar to that of the C1 and the C2, or I should say the C2. But the C series is excellent. I've also compared it to the G3, which I'll put a little bit of footage in this video. I'm currently away in gorgeous Phoenix, Arizona, but I wanted to shoot this little intro for you guys and bring you this content as the C series is always a very popular OLED as it combines very high-end picture quality and now in the last few years value. Thank you so much for watching. Without further ado, Mr. Robert Zahn. Hey, what's up guys? I'm here with owner, founder, and dear friend, Mr. Robert Zahn of Value Electronics. And Robert, today we are looking at the LG C3 OLED. This is a huge release as the C series has been year over year one of the most popular TVs in the world. We're excited to see the C series. What do you think of it? How are you? What's going on? What do you think of this amazing TV?
Thank you. All is well, and thank you for having me back on the channel again.
My pleasure.
This is quite an upgrade year again, and probably as big as last year's upgrade was C2 versus C1. This is even a more significant upgrade. Again, we have a new panel from LG Display that's more energy efficient and also is about 20% brighter, even though it draws less current. They've beefed up the power supply a little bit this year as well, so they don't have that aggressive anti-brightness limiter. Unless there's a static image on the screen that's full field bright with static images that will damage the screen, after about 4 minutes, it'll dim the image. That's a good thing. So the whole dimming process has been changed. There's no more ABL to talk of when you're watching any content, ice skating, skiing down mountains, all bright images, no problem.
So the snow isn't a weakness anymore for OLEDs, right?
That's right. If you press pause and you leave it up there for more than 4 minutes, it'll dim, and boy, that's a good thing.
But we know LG is always looking to protect it. They're tried and true. They've been doing this for many, many years. The C3 has its own stiff competition from its own sibling this year, which is the LG G3 with the micro lens array technology. Right. But the C3 has a host of improvements as well. And as you mentioned, a bit brighter. I felt the C2 was a noticeable upgrade from the C1, and the C3 benefits from that as well. Tell me about the processor and the differences, because LG has really caught up in regards to processing.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. And last year's upgrade in the processor was also a nice leap forward in things like scaling and upconverging low resolution, motion resolution, contrast control, you know, how it controls the dynamic tonal range of both SDR as well as HDR in the different formats and in the different ways they're mastered. So there's a lot to this. There's a lot of technical details. And so the processor really is worked hard. And boy, the A9 has so much more memory, I'm not supposed to say probably, is obviously the code has been written for the higher peak lumens and that they can drive it harder and they don't have an aggressive ABL. And just to follow up on that, my last statement, there still is this very minimal amount of ABL, but it's very minimal. But anyway, just to go back to this new processor. So scaling and upconversion of low resolution is cleaner, motion resolution is better. You will see these advantages. The tone mapping, it's a brighter panel, has a larger dynamic range. So there's a little more depth and detail when you're watching HDR. You will see the differences that the new panel combined with the new processor, how they take advantage of all these new technology enhancements that they've had.
All right, guys, as Robert removes the plastic, which is the most fun and satisfying part of any unboxing on our 77-inch LG C3, we'll go over its design and talk a little bit about the unboxing, which is very similar to last year's C2. The C3 and the C series in general is becoming more minimalist every year, and that is a bit more minimalist this year in regards to the bezel. It is nearly bezel-less, all black bezel, very elegant, has that smaller or more narrow center stand, which I prefer over the larger stand. We'll see if the 83-inch has the same stand in a few weeks as we look at the back of the C3. 4 full HDMI 2.1 ports. The bottom of the panel is larger to allow for the rest of the panel to be so thin. The power cable is not detachable. Now, as we begin the setup, it's very basic, like a lot of the LG TVs of the past. We will go through and show how we have the AI Picture Pro and a lot of the new features they have. Processing is more important every single year, and every manufacturer is really filling these TVs up with all kinds of new features. They've had that AI Picture Pro, and they've had a lot of these features always on, making it very simple to just tap the remote and be where you left off last time you were watching. I'm going to go through all of the settings step by step, show you exactly what they've added here. We've already seen the C series go against the G3 this year, and the G3 is definitely a step above, but the C series is always one of the most recommended TVs out there. Again, very high end and now a very good value. I love this new graphic that LG has put in. As we'll start with our good friend Jennifer Gala's content in the HDR Super Channel, I'm going to show you what the TV ships in. They always ship in standard. The eco modes are enabled, or at auto. We'll disable that. But quickly, I want to show you exactly what you'll expect when you open this TV at home. We'll go through all the presets, show you what each one looks like. First thing we will do is look for a software update. And even if it is on auto update, you'll still need to do a day one update. And one is required, so we will definitely do that. Now, a lot of times when Robert and Value Electronics get these TVs, really before many other retailers, there are times where it doesn't have its day one update, so we always follow up and then make sure they're updated. Now, here we are looking at the presets. Again, this is HDR channel, Super Channel and Jennifer Gala's content. And we are shipping again in standard. Right now we're just checking, make sure there's no other software updates for you guys. You can see that we're all up to date. And we are at the latest firmware update. I feel it's very important to show you guys the out-of-the-box settings. This is what you'll see at home. They are not in store mode. They are in home mode. We're going to go through and show you each one step by step, which ones you'll be disabling. I recommend turning off a lot of the eco modes. You'll see that through me going through them here step by step. The always ready function, when I first had that on the C2, it's amazing. I turned on my TV upstairs and it would turn on my TV downstairs. So it was actually pretty challenging when you were testing them in separate rooms. The AI Picture Pro, I keep disabled. A lot of people like it on. TV learns your habits throughout the year. I love the new Picture Wizard. We'll show you that step by step. But the AI brightness settings are disabled. We're going to go in and turn off the eco settings as well. Right now they're in auto as I go through the game settings for you. At the time of this recording, the game presets are locked. They were locked in the US. Initially in the G3, they were not locked. Then they were locked. I'll repeat that, in the US. Now, from what I understand, they are unlocked in the US. I'll go back and do some gaming on the C3. But as I mentioned, the C3 and last year's, here we're going to the care picture settings, you'll see the eco mode there as well. The C series is among the most recommended. It was considered one of the highest end OLEDs for years. It was the only game in town as we go into the family settings. And then as the gallery series, there was the E series and the other ones, but the picture quality was the same. G3, the G2 have begun to set themselves apart from the C series in terms of picture quality, peak brightness. But at the end of it, I always go back and recommend the C series. It ends up becoming one of the best all-around TVs year after year. And even with the QD-OLEDs last year and the 8K TVs, I still recommended the C2 above all, simply because a lot of sizes. Now quickly for the sizes, you go through the settings here. There is the 42 and 48. They'll be very similar to last year's LG C2. They won't have that 20% brightness in the APL that you'll see on the 55, 65, 77, and 83. So expect the 42 and the 48 to perform almost exactly the same as last year, but you'll have the picture wizard and a lot of those extra features, so it's still worth upgrading to. But I will double check on that when we open up a 42-inch soon. There's your energy saving. That one always kind of creeps up. Make sure that one is disabled. Now I like the operating system on LG. I like all of the settings. I don't like all of the clutter on the screen and all the advertisements, but not much I can do about that. And you can see all the different sound settings. At the end of the video, I'll use Jennifer's demo material and play a sound portion for you. Even though you're only gonna get it in 2-channel, I'll try to still describe to you what it sounds like by just changing the presets. Ton of features, ton of functionality on the C series and all LG OLEDs. Now we know that LG is really streamlined. The QD is going to be out this year, but they've kind of just pulled that one over. It's OLEDs all day. And we're going to go through and show you exactly how the TV ships. This is out of the box. Now the standard preset, actually I'll go through and show you all of the presets, but the standard preset was always like the second brightest and one of the most inaccurate. Now it's not actually the brightest. I feel like Cinema Home and Filmmaker Mode are actually brighter. The standard one just has a more poppy look, but it's not necessarily the brightest. I mean, Vivid's always brighter, but standard is not as wildly, as you can see us popping in and out of them. Look how bright Vivid is. Now I did feel that the C2 was appreciably more bright than the C1. It was a little step up, but incremental upgrades are okay. As we go into one of my favorite settings on the C series now is the personalized picture wizard. I love going through this. This is a very cool feature. Unlike the AI Picture Pro where it learns as you go through these separate pictures and you pick 2 from each and follow your preferences, which designs your own picture setting. This is not just market speak. I love this setting. Now the AI Picture Pro that learns with your habits, I always don't buy that, but I guess it does work. This you see, the minute you're done, it saves it and it becomes a custom preset, and I love the feature. It is very cool and I've used it constantly. I love the new shortcut menu as well, where everything is available in this small menu. Not this one, but the one we'll fold into. I'll show that to you in a second right here. Right there. Almost everything is accessible there. Now that personalized picture is there. We'll show you some SDR shortly as well, but right now we are in HDR, and out of the box, it's stunning. Filmmaker mode tracks very close to what we've seen from Sony Master Series. But even for the standard picture mode, it still looks dang good out of the box. Colors aren't crazy, as we'll stay in Filmmaker mode here. And I love that Filmmaker mode is so punchy, as you see here. And we'll go through the settings and show you the settings for Filmmaker mode. Dynamic tone mapping on, off. We'll leave it on. And It's up to you to enable or disable. I don't judge if you like the picture more accurate, less accurate. I love this expression enhancer. I'll show you this deeper, and I'll show you it again later in the Honey demo. But again, a lot of these TVs are all about the processing, the fine tuning of the image that really sets them apart. It shows you that even though these OLEDs are brighter than ever, I do feel the C3 has a little bit of a brighter punch to it, but probably the same difference between the C2 and the C1. Not night and day, but a difference. And a lot of settings to go through. Everything is pretty customizable. I like that. I like feeling like there's a flexible image. OLED at a time, 3 or 4 years ago, the picture kind of was what it was. And going through just the different adjustments and showing you what the different things you can change, different settings you can change. But look at that paused image just sitting there. Now, Robert had mentioned the ABSL and dimming. I don't find it to be very distracting myself. If you're very distracted by dimming OLEDs, then chances are OLEDs are probably not for you. But you're seeing the picture basically paused here for a few minutes and nothing's going wrong. Nothing is dimming. Showing you smooth gradation, showing you the motion settings. Again, you can fine tune a lot of this to your liking. But I like to go through and show you everything that's here, especially if you've had a C2. Now, if you have a C1 or a C2, do I think the C3 is a good upgrade? No, I think if you're gonna go up in size, I would definitely recommend going with the C3. But going to a C2, even a C1, if they're still available, are great bets. The one thing about the C series, they are the safest bets in all of TVs. They're typically very, very good. And again, years later, they've been very good bang for the buck, especially as the year goes on. Now, I have a video where I put the C3 against the G3, and the C3 did very well. Some of you preferred that image. I personally would go G3 all day, but if it was between a smaller G3 and a larger C3, I would not hesitate. I would go with the larger C3. That goes for 55 versus 65, 65 versus 77. And so on and so forth. But it has a very beautiful image, a very rich image. And again, you can make it look as poppy and as accurate as you like. But gaming with the C series has always been top notch. NVIDIA G-Sync, variable refresh rate. I mean, they're really fully feature packed. 4K 120, plays nice with PC, PS5. I think we agree it looks fantastic. And again, looks very natural. Now, personally, I'm actually looking at the 83-inch G3. I think I will order it, as I have an 83-inch C1. Now, is that typical for people? I'm in this industry, so I will upgrade much sooner than you guys. But if you have a C1, C2, you're still in a fantastic spot, as we're going to go in here and show you how different the image looks with the different presets. I like to get a paused image for you and show you what each one looks like, how each preset looks, and how different it changes the image. Again, processing. LG has worked very hard to catch up to Sony, and I do feel like they have. Now, me saying that, we have not seen Sony's lineup this year just yet. And again, LG has really streamlined their whole lineup this year, really focusing on OLED. Now, I love the expression enhancer. A lot of you are going to want to turn it off, but I think it's content dependent. We saw a lot of content on the G3. It does make a difference. And again, anything that gives you more flexibility. Now, if you're a purist, you're probably going to shut all this stuff off as we move into SDR. Now, the days of SDR being very dim on OLEDs is obviously over. You see no change in brightness. I will go through the different presets that are available in SDR that aren't there in HDR. You have the ISF settings, picture settings. You also have sports. Be careful, there is a power save right here in the middle somewhere. So make sure you don't, unless you want to. But it looks very good in SDR as well. Still very punchy, but there were times back in the day where once HDR was disabled, you were in SDR, there are times where it would dim or get dark. You'd have to adjust it. Those days are long gone. Very impressed with the image. I love how it's just floating there. Now, most of the footage you're seeing is in a moderately lit room. There is some reflections. The reflection handling is better this year and is pretty good on the C series overall. Again, love how it just floats there. As I mentioned before, LG really wants the G3 to be the one that battles the QD-OLEDs, and it is more than ready this year. But the C series will probably be the more recommended TV out of the two, as I believe flexibility of size and value are going to make a huge difference. Look how gorgeous that TV is. Now, is it good looking enough for me to upgrade from my C1 to a C3? Only because I'm in the industry, guys, would I do that. But for those of you that are sitting there with a C1, even a CX, but the CX is getting up there in age, about processing is where you'll see the big difference, especially in upscaling. Which is where the C3 and the G3 had a bit of an edge over the S95C, was in that lower content on, say, YouTube TV. LG did a better job upscaling. But very colorful. The motion handling is excellent. And again, with the motion handling, you can adjust it to what you like. Screen uniformity on the 77-inch was also phenomenal. I didn't see any banding. Again, I'm going to go back and check out a couple different sizes and also use the gaming features and see how the banding is. But right now, looks beautiful. And special thanks to Value Electronics for letting me shoot in their store, shooting the C3. Please consider making your next AV purchase through them. Check the description below for all their information. Let them know that I sent you. They'll take great care of you. But it is a true treat to be here. I can easily bring these TVs home, but I much rather shoot in store. Just much more room. Makes it much easier for comparisons as well. But I'm very impressed with the C series. Now again, many of you will say it's an incremental upgrade, guys. As long as we're not going backwards, the C series is very good. So incremental upgrades are very welcome. I don't recommend, unless you're going up in size, upgrading from one C to the other. But there is a richness. It does appear slightly brighter. The C2, as I mentioned, was slightly brighter. That is the APL that they're increasing through processing, which is fine. However they get there, they get there. And just showing you a panning shot, how it looks in a little bit of a darker room, how it looks like it's just hovering there. It just has a very cool look to it. Minimalist, fits into any room. We're gonna go back into the expression enhancer here for the next few minutes before we go into Jennifer's content, where you'll hear the sound, and then I'll shut up so you can hear the way the sound is. But I want to show you the clarity, and that's without the reality or the other settings put in or dynamic contrast. Just showing you the expression enhancer and the picture wizard, my two favorite features this year for both LG OLEDs. Now, as we move into the sound portion, you may want to up the volume or lower it. As we get into the AI sound settings, it does get very loud, but I'll have to leave it so you can actually hear the difference. But very happy with the C series this year. It's a must buy if you're in the market. Very, very beautiful TV. Now, leaving the detail enhancer on for this next demo. Very saturated, very poppy. So, man, you can even make a filmmaker mode as saturated and as vibrant as you like. Again, flexibility. I believe that that control should be in your hand. It's your TV. Do what you want with it, my friends. Make it look however you like. But again, tracks very close to the Sony in filmmaker mode, very accurate. And it just looks amazing. The colors are extremely vibrant. And we're gonna move into the sound portion momentarily. And again, I apologize for the audio quality. I am away with my family at a resort. You may even hear them in the background or people walking by. And here is the sound part from Jennifer Gallo. Hopefully that wasn't too torturous. It's very hard to show sound, or at least on YouTube, but hopefully you had a good feel for it. In closing, the C series, I can tell you already, is one of the best TVs of the year, the LG C3. This is the 77-inch. Definitely give it a look. If you're looking for an OLED at this size, it is very hard to beat. And again, it's a value in comparison to the competition. You can always go with a larger C series. But I love the TV. Definitely something highly recommended. Features, full feature set, a lot of flexibility of image. Processing is miles ahead of where it used to be, and just very, very happy with it in general. Showing you some more content from our good friend Jennifer, more real content versus demo material. But hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you in the comments. Love you guys. Take care.
It's better to burn out than to fade away.